the WKYX WNGO newsroom, I'm Tim Brockwell. The home stretch in the midterm elections. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell could take the reins of the chamber. But first, he must win re-election. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern has more from Louisville.
At a Louisville airfield, Republican Mitch McConnell is telling supporters they can undermine President Obama's agenda.
After 6 years of borrowing and spending and taxing and regulation, these people need to be stopped, and it starts tomorrow night.
But Democratic challenger Allison Grimes has surprised many, keeping this race close by tapping into the unpopularity of Congress.
He thinks this race is about him. It's not. It's about you. That's what I believe.
Grimes and McConnell are both taking to the skies, both campaigns with several stops in every corner of Kentucky. In Louisville, Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio.
One World Trade Center, the skyscraper built on the grounds where the Twin Towers once stood, opening for business today. The first tenant, publishing giant Condé Nast, Jordan Barowitz, the building's managing agent, says he thinks opening the doors to the building will prompt more companies to lease space in the building.
Having the building open and having people able to come down and walk straight into the building and see how it interacts with the street and see the beautiful lobby and see the Condé Nast employees in the building will be a real shot in the arm to the leasing activity here.
The new building stands 1,776 feet or 104 stories, making it the nation's tallest building by some standards. A Trigg County man's been arrested and charged with multiple murders and kidnapping. Kentucky State Police has charged 36-year-old Ryan Champion with the deaths of his mother, father, and sister. He's also charged with the death of Vito Reservato. Police said KSP had been investigating the murders of Joy Champion, Lindsay Champion, Emily Champion, and Vito Reservato since they were found at the Champion's home in Cadiz on Sunday. Since that time, investigators said they gathered evidence that gave them probable cause to arrest Champion. Champion is charged with 4 counts of capital murder and 1 count of capital kidnapping. He was taken to the Christian County Detention Center. His arraignment's been set for 2 p.m. today in Trigg County District Court. A Benton man was killed Thursday afternoon in a motorcycle crash on Palmer Road. At around 4 p.m. Thursday, Marshall County Sheriff deputies responded to the crash. According to the report, 66-year-old Glenn T. Thorne of Benton failed to negotiate a curve on his motorcycle and ran off the road. Police said Thorne was taken to a hospital and transferred to a medical helicopter, but he died a short time later. The Kentucky Public Service Commission has given permission for Lovelessville Water Company to close and abandon its system, effective in February of 2015. In an order issued Friday, the PSC said it wants Lovelessville water customers to have enough time to make alternative arrangements for water service, which could include drilling wells or installing cisterns. The agency found that the deteriorating physical condition of Lovelessville Water made it impossible for the company to continue operating, and attempts to find someone willing to run or take over the system were unsuccessful. Obstacles to continued operation of the utility include the need to completely overhaul the system, a dwindling customer base that makes it impossible to raise enough money through rates, and an inability to obtain financing, the PSC said. Because they are privately owned, Lovelessville Water is not eligible for the grants or low-interest loans available to nonprofit rural water systems. A Marshall County man was arrested on Halloween after he was seen wearing an official police uniform. Bill Hughes reports.
The Graves County Sheriff's Department got a call from an off-duty police officer who told them a man was in the Fancy Farm Dollar General store in an official uniform. When deputies arrived, they spoke to 43-year-old Jonathan Collins of Benton, and they say he admitted that he was not an officer. According to deputies, Collins was wearing a uniform along with a .38 caliber revolver, baton, and handcuffs. When searched, deputies found methamphetamine on Collins. He was arrested for impersonating a peace officer, firearm-enhanced possession of a controlled substance, meth, and promoting contraband. He was taken to Graves County Jail. I'm Bill Hughes.
A Southern Illinois man faces theft charges after police said he took $1,500 from a McCracken County business. According to the McCracken County Sheriff's Department, on October 29th, 20-year-old Blake Choate of Brookport took money out of his cash register while employed at Rural King on Cairo Road. Later that day, Choate had taken his lunch break, and police said he never returned to work. Deputies were called when a discrepancy of over $1,500 was found. When they arrived and reviewed the surveillance footage, they said they discovered Choate had taken the money. On October 31st, deputies located Choate and learned that he still had a quantity of the stolen money in his possession. That money was found and seized by deputies. Choate was arrested, charged with theft over $500, but under $10,000. That's a Class D felony. He was booked into the McCracken County Jail. More news later here or anytime at westkentuckystar.com. In the WKYX WNGO newsroom, I'm Tim Brockwell. Congress will look a lot different when it convenes for its 114th session. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland reports from Washington.
For the first time in 8 years, both the House and Senate will be controlled by Republicans, and a showdown is looming over immigration. Republicans are threatening to hold up money for Homeland Security, which oversees immigration, as a way to block the president's executive actions shielding millions of illegal immigrants from deportation. House Speaker John Boehner.
The president can't continue to just ignore the Constitution.
The Homeland Security Department is set to run out of money in February, part of the massive omnibus spending bill passed just before the holidays. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News Radio.
Indonesian authorities involved in the AirAsia search mission are warning to be prepared for the worst. Journalist Simon Buddha with Australia's Channel 9 is in Singapore and reports on what may have caused the expected crash at sea.
If you look at the particular area in the Java Sea where this plane is believed to have gone in, it's quite, by comparison to, say, the Indian Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, it is quite a narrow strip of sea, and I believe it's quite heavily populated, it's heavily shipped. There is a lot of shipping traffic in that area, so hopefully someone will be able to spot some wreckage. I understand also it's not that deep, it's quite shallow, so once that wreckage is located with the correct equipment, the Indonesian Civil Aviation Authorities should be able to get down and recover that crucial black box and the cockpit voice recorder, which will also provide critical evidence as to exactly what went wrong.
The Atlanta Falcons are parting ways with head coach Mike Smith after 7 years at the helm. Owner Arthur Blank says the decision was not easy, but he must keep the interests of the team his highest priority.
As the steward of this franchise, I have to challenge myself and challenge our organization, our leaders, and ask myself and ask them, is this the group that will take us to the next level? Do they have the capacity to take us to the next level? And it's a very difficult decision to make.
The Falcons had a respectable regular season record of 66-46 under Smith's stewardship, but routinely failed to impress in the postseason, going just 1-4. Their only successful playoff run to the 2012 NFC Championship game was followed by 2 terrible seasons, finishing 4-12 last year and 6-10 this year. A man is in jail and another in the hospital after a shooting and standoff at a home in Brookport Saturday. Here's Matt McLean with more.
According to a press release, at 3:42 p.m. on Saturday, the Massac County Sheriff's Department requested the assistance of Illinois State Police for a shooting and a barricaded subject inside Brookport. Now, State Police saying the perimeter was established around the home that the man had barricaded himself inside. And a couple of hours after it all began, that man exited the home and was taken into custody without incident. The shooting victim was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Brookport Bridge even had to be closed for a time during the incident because of the closeness of that bridge to the situation. I'm Matt McLean.
A Christmas Day home invasion led to the arrest of a Metropolis man on attempted murder charges. According to the McCracken County Sheriff's Office, on Thursday at around 12:45 p.m., deputies responded to a home on Old U.S. Highway 60 in reference to an alleged home invasion. When deputies arrived, witnesses told them 2 men had entered the home and one was armed with a handgun. Deputies said the armed suspect confronted one of the occupants and was sleeping and struck him in the head with a weapon. According to deputies, the suspect fired the gun, narrowly missing someone's head. Deputies said the 2 men took an assault rifle and a 9mm carbine rifle from the home and fled the area. Detectives later identified the shooter as 25-year-old Derek Jasper Carter of Metropolis. At around 7 p.m. Saturday, Carter was arrested on attempted murder and other charges. The investigation is ongoing and additional charges are expected. Carter remains in the Massac County Jail on a $250,000 cash bond. Average retail gasoline prices in Kentucky have fallen 12.6 cents per gallon in the past week, averaging $2.09 a gallon today, according to Gas Buddy's daily survey of 2,623 gas outlets in Kentucky. This compares with the national average that's fallen 10.8 cents per gallon in the last week to $2.27 a gallon. That's according to gasoline price website GasBuddy.com. Including the change in gas prices in Kentucky during the past week, prices yesterday were $1.23 a gallon lower than the same day 1 year ago and are 67 cents a gallon lower than a month ago. The national average has decreased 50.6 cents per gallon during the last month and stands 102 a gallon lower than this day a year ago. Gas prices have fallen $1.85 a gallon in Michigan since June 28th. That's the largest drop in the nation. In Paducah, prices are now as low as $2.02 a gallon. More news later here or anytime at WestKentuckyStar.com.